Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to show you one of my clients' Google Ads campaign. Um, it's a new client who asked me to kind of take a look into his current Google Ads campaign to see what potential area of improvement can there be found and how I can go ahead and do some changes after auditing the account, make some changes to the campaign so that it performs better. So this client is basically and his service or the tool he provides is LinkedIn data scraping services. So essentially he is trying to help people who are looking for data scraping services such as your LinkedIn profile, your email, your other details, maybe the company you work with, or if it's business or company page details, the number of employees a company has, the number of posts a company posts every, let's say, a day or a week or month. So these kind of data points, that can be scraped from LinkedIn platform. That is the basic core product model. Now, this guy is trying to get as many leads as possible. The conversion action, the desired conversion action on the site is they want someone to come on the site, to come on the landing page, which is kunk.pro, and click on this get started button, submit their names, fill in their names, email address, and other details as to their specific requirements, specific data scraping requirements, and then submit it, right? So that is the conversion action that they have on their website. They want to collect as many leads as possible. The client says initially this campaign has basically been around, according to the client, for about 2 months, as well as the data we can see here. This has been around for quite some time now, and according to this client, the campaign was generating results at the start, but then something happened and it just started to exhaust the budget, consume the budget, but without any ROI, without any return on their investment. No leads, no conversions, but it's just it's spending their marketing dollars. So this client is going to need help, a professional help, that someone should look into this account and see where the problem exists and how can the situation for this account be improved. So I am almost in the middle of going through things, implementing the changes that I see fit for this account. I went through a few things. For example, if you take a look at the data in the time span of 1 or 2 months from April to June 2021, you see there are some obvious problems. First of all, the very first thing that this client needs to take a look at, or they should have taken a look at, was the conversion tracking. They haven't implemented the conversion tracking on their website yet, and so there's no way for Google to sort of track those conversions, and there's no way for its machine learning system to optimize things, improve things around those conversions, because it's not receiving any data as far as conversions are concerned. So the client isn't seeing improved result because the machine learning isn't in place in the case of this client. So the very first thing we need to do with this account is set up the conversions. All right, so I suggested the client to follow the process of implementing the tracking snippets into their account, the global take, and then the event snippet on the thank you page. So that is the process you guys might be familiar with. It's a straightforward process. You need to go to the conversions section here and click on the conversion setup. All right, set up a conversion like submit lead form, and after you have done the basic setup, you will have a tag. You can either implement the tag via Google Tag Manager, or you can install the tag yourself if you are comfortable editing the backend code of your website. So for example, this one, the global tag needs to go between the head tags, right, on all pages. If you are, for example, using the WordPress site, you may go to the header section of your website and place this code between the head text of the header section of your website. And this event snippet, if you want to make it a click event, you can choose click. Otherwise, if you want to track page load events, so for example, when someone submits the button, they should be taken to another thank you page where you can implement, or where you can place this event snippet for Google to track those conversions. So this is a very simple process. After going through this thing, there are other obvious things that we can take a look at and improve in the case of this account. So for example, when I take a look at the campaign, there's only one campaign up and running, right? So normally when you have a Google Ads campaign, you don't just rely on setting up one campaign, one ad group, and a few keywords and let it run, right? That way you are limiting the possibilities. You are limiting your campaign to learn from different strategies. For example, if you would have one or two or three different campaigns using different bidding strategies, and then within those campaigns, if you have broken down the process in a way that your keyword match types are different for different ad groups. All right, you're testing things, for example, maybe increasing the CPC budget in the case of manual bidding, or maybe decreasing or adjusting the CPC in the case of CPA method. So you have a lot of room for testing when it comes to different campaigns, focusing on the same keywords, right? But if you just set up one single campaign and one single ad group, then there isn't much you can test around. So this is the very obvious thing in the case of this campaign, that it's not optimally utilizing the settings, the A/B testing options within this platform, and that's why results are not happening. So one single campaign, one single ad group. And if we go within the ad group, for example, let's say we take a look at their ads, again, we see, there are only standard search ads, expanded text ad. There are no responsive ads. So that's another problem. You need to have a responsive ad, at least one responsive ad within a group. All right, at least two to three, three to four expanded text ads, or at least one responsive ad. If you have two responsive ads and three or four extended text ads, that's fine. It doesn't harm. It's of course going to benefit your campaign, as you are allowing the system to kind of run those different variations to see which one's click-through rate is happens to be better, and which one is performing better in terms of conversions, the actual conversions. So that is necessary. Now, if you take a look at the ads again, the text ads, for example, it's not clear. Scrape profile from Li. Most of the times people don't use those abbreviations. For example, Li for LinkedIn. People just search LinkedIn. If you do a keyword research for the type of services that this client is trying to sell. No one is searching for li, no one is searching for li scraper, li scraping tool, li scraping services. So it doesn't make sense to use li in the title, in the uh, heading of your ad, right? So that's another mistake that they are making. And then if you take a look at the ads, they are not using the capitalized form of descriptions. It's just normal paragraphs and it's not standing out. So if they use in in a capitalized format, the descriptions, the ads, and everything, it's going to help with the click-through rate. So there's some formatting issues there that can be worked on. And then if we go ahead and take a look at their keywords, the next thing, again, a very limited set of keywords that they are relying on to capture traffic and then convert them into leads. Just about maybe 10 or 12 keywords. And again, if you take a look at the keywords, their match type is exact match. So this is like, narrowing down your options to a handful of searches a day. Although they don't have a lot of marketing budget for this campaign, but still, if you just limit your options around a few keywords, you don't know, you might not know that the ones you are missing out on could give you better traffic at better CPC rate. All right. So if you just rely on this one, that's your option. And that's the option you are giving to Google to show your ad against and then charge you this money. And if you take a look at their average CPC, it's pretty high, $5.46, $4.58. Going down, the lowest one is 2.6 on average for the last 2 months, which is pretty high. If you take a look at, I have done a keyword research. If you take a look at the lower range, although it's somewhere between $3 to $7, but again, if your budget is low, you can afford to bid on a number of keywords and keep the CPC. Or if you are using a CPA strategy, the CPA as low as possible. You just want Google to barely consume the budget by the end of the day. You don't want Google to spend their budget within a matter of 1 hour and let the campaign remain paused for the rest of the day. So that's not a good strategy. If you take a look at these things, again, there are different issues here, but I'm not talking about them just yet. So the number of keywords need to be expanded. All right. And their match type also is not very recommended strategy to just run one ad group, and within that single ad group you keep all the majority of the keywords as exact match. Normally the phrase match is better, but if you are keeping exact match, it's going to limit your options. So that's another area that needs to be worked on. If I take a look at the negative keywords again, not very many negative keywords I can see here, just a few. So that means they are getting quite a lot of negative searches, a lot of negative traffic on this site because they're not using negative keywords quite effectively. And if I take a look at the search terms, the terms that people are actually looking for, and against the search terms, this guy's ads, it's showing these are the terms. I can also see some of the keywords should be in the negative list. For example, this LinkedIn Scraper API, this is not an API. And if someone is looking for an API and your ad showing up, that means you're just wasting the money on this guy, right? At the cost of 3.2 per click. $9 just wasted on this keyword. Again, $9 just wasted on this one. So we need to put these API think in the negative section, so that whenever someone is using a keyword and along with the keyword they're using API term, our ad should not show up, because we are not providing any API, or we are not providing any sort of technical solutions to the programmers or the people who integrate these solutions on a site, right? It's just for normal people who want to scrape, extract data from LinkedIn, and it's for those people. So the buying intent, the search intent of the user matters. And if you take a look at this long list of keywords, a lot of these keywords should have been on the negative list. So based on this preliminary analysis of the account, I came up with a list of keywords first of all, although this one is not as extensive as it could be, but this is good. About 50 highly targeted keywords. All right. And you can take a look at their monthly search volume, the competition, top of the page bid range, high range, top of the page bid, low range. So these things, this keyword list is strictly based on the service that this guy is selling on the site. And after the keyword, I have also the positive keyword. We do have some negative keywords as well. The positive keywords here, but there's a list of negative keywords is also ready, that needs to be implemented for this campaign. So a lot of the keywords are related to Python. All right. So someone is searching for LinkedIn scraping Python, scraping LinkedIn Python. These are for the developers, right? People, technical people, developers, programmers, people who work on integrating things, API and these kind of things with websites or applications, are looking for these type of keywords. So they are not our potential customers, and our ads should not pop up. It should not show when someone is using these keywords on Google. By the same token, we don't want to show our ad to someone who is interested in a free service, right? Because we're not providing a free service, so it doesn't make sense to bring someone on the side who isn't looking for a paid service in the first place. So anything related to free services should be removed from our keyword targeted keyword list. It should rather be put on the negative list of keywords. Now, how did I come across these keywords, or how did I make a list of these negative keywords? Is It's also a simple process. You're looking for your normal targeted keywords. For example, your seed keyword is LinkedIn scraper, and another seed keyword that you're using to search keywords using Google's keyword planner tool. It is, let's say, LinkedIn scraping tool and LinkedIn scraping services. Now, if you put these three keywords, go back to the LinkedIn's keyword plan, Google Ads keyword planner, and you just put these three keywords, change the country since they're targeting US, not Vietnam, and you hit get results. Sorry, we did some mistake, I guess. Maybe, yeah, the language is not Vietnamese, it's English. So you see, we get a bunch of keyword ideas and suggestions, and the negative keywords lie somewhere here in this list. So it's basically, these are the type of keywords that people are typing on Google, I mean, these are different combinations of keywords. So it's very likely if I'm targeting, let's say one of these keywords, LinkedIn scraper, it's very likely that someone looking for this keyword or someone searching this keyword can also stumble upon our ad. They can also see our ad. It's very likely. So if I can see some negative keyword, for example, a keyword that is being used with another term, free or Python, or maybe API or these kind of keywords, I'm going to straight put that on our negative list. So that's how I found these negative keywords, and I'm going to implement them on the negative list to ensure that as much of the irrelevant traffic that the campaign has been pulling in, uh, these searches should be filtered, and there's only relevant and potential traffic on the site that we can say they can convert into customers, or at least they can be interested in filling um, the lead form, and the process can go from there. So that's about the keywords. And if you take a look now at the search ads that I have prepared, again, I have used some features, for example, dynamic insertion feature. What this does is when someone is typing LinkedIn scraping in combination with something else, that something else we don't know about could show here. All right. So when our ad show, for example, if I could type it, LinkedIn scraping to, not showing any A. Anyway, if I have inserted, um, if I have crafted this ad the way that I am putting the LinkedIn part between this bracket, and I'm using their syntax keyword, and I'm saying it should be LinkedIn and scraping tool. Let's say best scraping tool. All right. Now, instead of LinkedIn scraping tool, our ad is going to show them this title, right? Best scraping tool instead of LinkedIn scraping tool. As long as the character limit remains within 30 characters, all right, then the system is going to show them that certain keyword instead of the one we have suggested. All right. If it's not meeting the criteria, the character criteria, if someone is using for best web scraping, best web scraping tool, or best web free scraping tool. Now, if it's crossing, let's say, the 30 character limit, Google is not going to use the user's input now. It's going to use the suggestions we have given them, because that way the title's character limit is going to remain within 30 characters. So Google is going to use our suggested keyword, that's going to be LinkedIn scraping tool in this case. So, these are some of the techniques that you can use to improve your click-through rate if you're using them here and there in a sensible manner. You have to take a look at the thing, whether or not it's likely for someone to use any other combinations of keywords instead of saying large scale LinkedIn scraping. Could a user put some other keyword here? If you feel they could put some other keyword that you don't know about, or that you cannot cover all those variants in your ads, you might simply use dynamic insertion feature and put a suggested keyword. Otherwise, Google is going to use the user's input here to show this certain title or this certain part of your search ad. So I have come up with 3 to 4 search aids, targeting slightly different variations, different versions of the keywords, so that we could improve their click-through rate. And then I also have prepared, I'm in the process of preparing, let's say, a responsive aid for them. We can we can put the same descriptions here for the responsive aid. It's not necessary to write them all from scratch. So you can use the same descriptions you're using for the search aid, the same descriptions for responsive aid as well, because it's not going to make much difference. The important thing is the headlines. If the headlines are different, covering all the potential keywords that you want to target, then it's fine if you're using the same descriptions here. But if you are creating a unique description, that's fine as well. It's super fine. But if you have some time constraints, you want to use the same descriptions, you can also do that. And then some call out extensions to make it a little bit more appealing for a user to click on the ad. Like, we say best LinkedIn scraper, no data scripting limits, it's quick, it's easy, and secure. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. So these are some call outs we're using. Now I'm going to go ahead and implement it, right? The simple way for you to make these changes and implement the strategy using different, let's say, bidding strategies, different keyword match type, is to use this tool, Google Ads Editor. I normally use this because it's going to save a lot of time, and it's going to make the process much easier for me instead of I go ahead and implement each of the process elements within Google Ads one by one. That's not very efficient, and that's going to take a lot of time. So I'm going to show you how I'm implementing this strategy I have suggested, and the client is happy with it. They agreed with me to implement this and see what kind of impact these changes could have on their campaign. So we are going to, let's say, now we are in the Google Ads editor interface. Now we are going to create a new campaign. So I click on the new campaign. I will name the new campaign. So it's going to be Kong Pro search campaign. Or I can simply use the SC for search campaign 1. All right. And now I want to make this one. I want to choose manual CPC as the bidding strategy because I want to test things. I want to have full control over what type of keywords are consuming how much budget in terms of CPC. So I want to run this campaign in a more controlled way for one of the campaigns. That's why I'm going to choose manual CPC as the bidding strategy, and I'm going to set the manual CPC, the CPC as let's say 1.5, let's say $1 to begin with. So $1 is the cost per click, and the bidding strategy is manual CPC. All the rest of the elements are not related to this strategy, so I'm leaving them as they are. And I'm going down. No, it's not a display campaign, so I don't need to put any frequency capping on it. And that's fine. Standard inventory, that's fine. I'm not going to touch anything. I don't need to run the ads on their partner network or on YouTube display network, so nothing. And that's it. So now I created a search campaign, I initiated a search campaign within Google Ads Editor. Now I'm going to go ahead and create an ad group. All right, just as I do create an ad group after I create a campaign within Google Ads, and the same process is applied here. So and let's say I within this manual CPC bidding strategy. Now, since I am able to control the cost per click at a keyword level, what I'm going to do is I am going to create two ad groups, right? The one ad group is going to target the exact match keywords, all right, and the other group is going to target the broad match keywords, right? So for the phrase match, I may use some other bidding strategy, but I can even consider including the phrase match here. So three ad groups: one for the exact match, another for the phrase match, and the third one is for the broad match. That way, I will be able to test which match type is going to perform better at what cost. So if, for example, the broad match is going to perform better in terms of conversion and CPC and cost per conversion, I am going to focus more on that campaign instead of the other campaigns. But if it happens that the exact match is performing well, I will at least be able to test the other two match types as well for me to kind of set a direction moving forward with this campaign. So I'm going to set this match type, say pro exact exact match. All right, and I am setting the CPC, whether you set it at the campaign level or at the ad group level, choice is yours. You can also set the CPC at the uh, at group level. So for example, if you feel that those exact match keywords are more valuable than broad match keywords, and you should be willing to spend some more uh, money on these keywords, you can slightly increase the CPC. You can bump it up to, let's say, from $1 to $1.3 for the exact match, because I feel if someone is searching for exactly for a very relevant keyword LinkedIn scraper, my ad should have a higher probability to show on Google Ads. So to do that, to influence the ad rank, what we can do is we can set the CPC higher, for us to increase the chances of our ad to show on Google. Leave the rest of the settings as they are not related. All of them are grouped here because depending on different campaign types, you are going to use them. So for example, if it would have been a CPC, you would have used this option, but since it is a cost per click manual CPC option, you're using this option. You're using the default max CPC field and not targeted CPA or max CPV or any other bidding strategy. All right, so you can leave these settings as they are, and you can move on to the keywords now. And for the keywords, there's a simple way to add those keywords. First of all, copy all of your keywords from here and go ahead and use this option, make multiple changes. This is going to allow you to implement those keywords in bulk. I mean, you can copy and paste all your keywords at a time instead of you having to individually pick those keywords and paste it. All right, so I selected all those keywords, pasted here, and I proceeded. Now the keywords have been implemented. Now I have to choose their type, their match type. So for this one, since we have intended to create a an exact match group, so I'm choosing the match type as exact. All right, and as you can see, all the settings have been, the mesh types for these keywords have been changed to from broad mesh to exact mesh now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save it, and I have some negative keywords here. Okay, it's automatically saved. You don't have to do anything. When it comes to posting these changes to your Google Ads, you have to manually post it from here. Otherwise, the things that you are pasting in the keyword section are automatically saved, so you don't have to do anything. Now we go ahead and include these negative keywords we have prepared. Leave this part, just this one. We'll set the mesh type to broad mesh, so that when someone uses this certain keyword in combination with any other keyword, it should not trigger our ad to show on Google. So we are using these keywords, copy, and paste them here. With this option, make multiple changes. And since we are going to place these keywords at the ad group level, we can choose if we want to place them at the campaign level. We don't have to put them individually at the ad group level. The campaign level negative keywords would apply to every ad groups that are within that campaign. So we would preferably put that at the campaign level. All right, and now over here, and what type of data we just pasted here, we need to specify that. So it's keywords, so we're gonna select that and process and finish and review changes. All right, now our negative keywords have been added. It's done for this campaign. So now we have created a campaign, we have created an ad group, we have created our negative keywords, edit our negative and positive keywords. Now what's left is for us to create the ads. All right, we are going to create 3 extended text ads and 1 responsive ad. So for the extended text ads, we need to just click the add expanded text ad after we choose the expanded text ads option under the ads section, and we are gonna go to our ads on this spreadsheet file, copy, back, paste the headlines. We can do it pretty quick from here. Get the headlines, paste, copy, paste. For the description, copy the description, paste. Final. For the URL paths, again, URL path, it's pretty standard format. I just have to now pick it and paste it. Just a matter of copy and pasting. All right, so this ad is ready, and now we are going to copy the same ad here 2 times, because we are gonna put 3 ads there. Copy, paste, copy and paste. Copy the description for this ad, copy the description 2 for this ad, and the rest of the things, the path 1, path 2, and the final URL can remain the same because they are the same across all the text ads. Now for the third ad, just pick their headline and paste it, copy and paste, description, copy description 1 and paste, copy description 2 and paste. We are done with the 3H now. All right. Now, since we have created one of the campaigns focusing on the exact match keywords, and we want to create another ad group within this campaign, and that ad group is gonna be let's say phrase match. All right, so all we have to do is our ads are going to remain the same, our keywords are going to remain the same, our negative keywords are going to remain the same, but we just want to change their match type, the keywords match type, for testing purposes. We are not making any other changes since we are within the campaign. Our bidding strategy is also going to remain the same, although we can increase the CPC or decrease the CPC depending on what type of match, what type of keywords or what match type we are choosing for this ad group. But generally, the bidding type is going to remain the same. So if it is CPC, manual CPC for this one, for the new ad group, it's going to remain manual CPC, although we can change the cost per click level for our keywords at the ad group level. So let's say we copy it and we paste it down here, and we're going to change its name to from exact match to, let's say, broad match. All right, and we are going to decrease the CPC, because in the case of broad match, it's very likely that we will get some generic traffic, um, you know so we don't want to spend a lot of money on the broad match keywords, because normally and generally the quality of the traffic coming from broad match keywords isn't very high. So we want to keep the CPC level as low as possible. So if it is $1.3 per click, in the case of exact match, we are going to want to keep it, let's say, $0.5 per click in the case of broad match. That way, at least, if we are getting traffic at a scale and some portion of that traffic is gibberish, it's not going to convert, low quality traffic, but at least some part of it could be relevant, and it could convert. So we'll see. At the end of the day, we need to test and we need to compare things based on real data that we will receive over a span of a few weeks. So this one, I just, for this one, I changed the match type. The rest of the things, it's keywords, its ads are going to remain the same. We're not changing that. So this is very quick. Now another campaign I want to create, and this one is going to be, let's say, it's going to be phrase match. Yeah, so one thing that we need to change is, since it's a broad match ad group, we are going to go to our keywords and change their match types to broad match. All right. Now this was exact in the case of the first campaign. Now we are going to change it to uh, broad match. All right. Coming back to our third ad group, we are going to change the keywords to, let's say, phrase match, and we are naming this campaign group ad group as phrase match, because inside this ad group we want to target keywords that are phrase match. So everything else is fine. We might consider increasing the CPC a bit from 5 to, let's say, not as high as the exact match, but somewhere around, let's say, $1 per click. Generally, the CPC for the industry is much high than what we are setting here. But since we are at the very beginning stage, we want to test things and gradually build on this campaign. We don't want to go very aggressive at this start, because we have a limited budget. We want to keep things as minimal and as low key as possible. So $1 in CPC, and we are going to change the keywords from broad match now to phrase match. All right. Hey, one mistake I realized I did is, I forgot to include the um, responsive aid. All right, so now I have to create a responsive aid again and copy that responsive aid separately within each aid group that I just created. So let me go to the add group, then ads, and then the responsive add here. I haven't created one. I'm going to process one here. And let me go to the responsive add section on the spreadsheet, copy these headlines one by one, paste them, copy, and paste, copy, paste, copy. The more headlines you put on your you put on your responsive aid, better. So the more headlines you put out there, the better. And the most number of headlines you can use is 15. You cannot go beyond 15. That's the maximum limit. You can create 15 headlines for a responsive aid, and you can create 4 descriptions. That's the limit. Can't go beyond that. All right. Now put the final URL, pick it from here, put it here, and you can use the same URL paths in the case of our responsive ad as well, and the same URL. Since this is a one-pager website, we do not have any internal pages, so the same URL is going to be used everywhere. All right, now we are done with our responsive aid. We just have to pick this, copy this responsive aid, go to our aid groups, the other aid groups, and copy them inside our paste it here, and then go here, paste it here. All right, so we have now within each group we have 3 expanded text aid and 1 responsive aid. You can see 3 extended text aids and 1 responsive aids in the case of each group. So we have basically created one campaign, 3 ad groups, and each ad group has keywords, is targeting keywords that are different in terms of their match types, and the CPC level for each ad group varies. It's different. So that is the general settings we have considered to perform A/B tests. Now, another campaign that we want to create, focusing on CPA strategy, is gonna be it's going to be very simple now. Since we have created our first campaign, all we have to do is go to our campaign section here and copy the same campaign and paste it here. All right. And since we don't want to use that many phrase match types or these many ad groups because we have a very small scale campaign, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove, you know, two ad groups and keep the one that says phrase match. All right, so let me choose the ad group. First of all, I need to change the campaign name. Otherwise, it's not going to allow me to post these changes. So I need to change its name from campaign 1 to campaign 2. It's fine. Now I can go to our ad groups and we have three ad groups there. I want to delete actually, I don't want to delete anyone. So I just want to test them out to see what type of results they generate. But I'm just going to change the bidding strategy from CPC. Let me change the bidding strategy from CPC. Go to the campaign level first. Sorry. And change the campaign from here. And I change the manual CPC to cost per acquisition, targeted cost per acquisition. I'm setting the cost per acquisition, let's say $15. All right, maybe $20. So I set the CPA to be 20 and I'm keeping the rest of the settings the same as the one we have configured for the manual CPC campaign. So now, as you can see, we have three campaigns. The other one is the existing one that set up by the client himself and is running now. The two campaigns that we just created is Kong.pro search campaign 1, Kong.pro search campaign 2. All right, these two campaigns we created, and this one is using a targeted CPA bidding strategy, and the other one is using manual CPC strategy. So we are pretty much done with our basic settings within Google Ads Editor. Now I'm going to go ahead and post these things. So I'm going to reject any recommendations it's giving me here. I don't need to implement those suggestions just yet. So I'm going to post these changes so that they are updated within our Google Ads account. So as you see, we have created two new campaigns, 6 ad groups, 3 in each campaigns, and these many keywords. It's going to give me an error. Responsive ads. The responsive ads contain an error. Let me see what type of error. It says invalid headline to post the responsive ad edit. Why is it invalid? I see. It's because of this. You know, I was just to show you guys, I was using this LinkedIn thing before our keyword, or maybe it's because of something else. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, here. It's here. It's here. Okay, so we changed it to the plus sign, needs to be removed because Google has its own formatting guidelines. We need to follow those guidelines, otherwise it's not going to approve our age. So I made those changes. Now I'm going to post them, and boom, everything should now be updated in our Google Ads accounts. Now if I go and see by refreshing the URL if those changes have been posted here, and they are, now what I'm gonna do is I'm temporarily pausing all the ad groups for now, because I don't want to run them without first notifying my client that the changes have been made within Google Ads, and the campaign is ready to go. All right, so I paused all the ad groups, but you can still see them here. So that's pretty much about it. This is how you can test different bidding strategies, different keyword strategies by using their different match types. Even if the scale and scope of your campaign is not very very high, you can still create those multiple versions of the ad groups to see which one performs better. Most of the times Google Ads strategists don't consider creating those campaigns, different ad groups, targeting the same keywords, the same using the same text ads, mostly because it's a time consuming thing, right? But if you're using a tool like Google Ads Editor, and you are just copying the same configuration and pasting and making a few changes depending on your testing strategy, then it's going to expedite the process. It's not going to take much time. As you saw here, I created 3 ad groups, 2 ad campaigns, and 3 ad groups within each campaign. So altogether 6 ad groups and 2 campaigns in a matter of less than half an hour. And the configurations are ready to be tested. Now, after this campaign is live, based on actual data, we are going to decide whether or not to continue these ad groups. Maybe we will consider pausing some of them, and the ones that would perform better, we will keep them running. So that's about it. Thank you so much for watching this video and bearing with me this long, and I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next video, hopefully. Thank you. Bye now.